Eala shares what she's really hoping she can do for Filipino tennis after beating Jasmine Paolini. Eala stunned Jasmine Paolini on Tuesday to advance at the Dubai Tennis Championships. Eala, unseeded at the event, defeated Paolini 6-1, 7-6, and offered her immediate reaction in the aftermath. The Filipina, who will play Sarana Sirsti in the next round, had the support of a partisan crowd throughout the match. As has been the case in all of Eala's matches so far this season after the contest, Eala acknowledged that the stadium was full of Filipinos, and that she gave everything she had in order to win for them. In her post-match press conference, Eala described playing in those atmospheres as a blessing. Eala hopes to inspire Filipinos to play tennis. Speaking to reporters in Dubai, Eala said, "Yeah, I saw the stadium was really full. I looked up and there were Filipinos for days smiling. It's really such a blessing to be able to play in those sorts of atmospheres. I am really privileged and thankful that I'm able to introduce kind of this new world or new sporting world, women's tennis, to a new demographic. I think they're really enjoying it. I hope that it would inspire people to take up rackets, young girls and all women of all ages to take up sports." Eala also previewed her contest against Sarana Sirsti. The Romanian, who defeated Linda Noskova in the previous round, beat Eala in their only previous match at the 2024 Madrid Open. Eala said, "Yeah, she's been doing really well recently. I know she won a tournament just a couple weeks ago, I think. She's a very experienced player, physically very fit. I'm really excited. I think each match is a challenge. Everybody at this stage really wants to continue. Yeah, I'm not an exception to that either," smiling. Sirsti, 35, recently won her fourth career WTA title after defeating Emma Raducanu in the Transylvania Open final. The Romanian, who is set to retire from her playing career at the end of this year, has won her last 7 matches on the tour. The most famous tennis players from the Philippines. At 20 years old, Eala is already one of the most famous sportspeople in Filipino history. Felicissimo Ampon is perhaps the most famous player alongside Eala. Ampon was a 2-time singles quarter-finalist at the French Championships from 1952 to 1953, despite being only 5 feet, 3 inches tall. Ampon represented his country for almost 30 years and holds the Philippine record for the most singles, 34-26, and total wins, 40-35, in Davis Cup history. Diane Castillejo, now a journalist, is another famous tennis figure from the Philippines. Castillejo won several SEA Games medals from 1981 to 1987, while also competing in Junior Wimbledon, the Asian Games and Junior US Open. Maricruz Fernandez is another notable figure, having won a gold medal for women's singles at the 1999 SEA Games. Late last year, Eala became the first Filipina since Fernandez to win the gold medal after beating Manankaya Sawanki in the SEA Games women's singles final. After capturing the gold medal, Eala told Olympics.com, "I'm so over the moon. To be able to bring this sort of pride to my country is something I've only dreamt about. It's a very different field, because this is something so unique to Southeast Asia, and it means something that a lot of people from Europe or America might not get. This has been something that people from my region look up to and dream about since they're young." When Eala walked off the court after beating Jasmine Paolini, the roar inside the stadium was loud. But the louder sound was coming from thousands of miles away. From Manila, from Quezon City, from small barangay courts where cracked concrete meets borrowed rackets. Because this wasn't just a win over a top European star. It felt like something bigger. And when Eala finally sat down for her post-match interview, still breathing hard, sweat tracing the outline of battle, she didn't talk about rankings. She didn't talk about prize money. She didn't even talk about revenge or proving critics wrong. She talked about responsibility. And that changed everything. "I hope this means more kids pick up a racket." Simple words, but heavy ones. Because for years, Filipino tennis has lived in the shadows of boxing, basketball, and billiards. Courts are limited. Funding is tight. Exposure is rare. Young players with talent often run into the same wall. Opportunity. Eala knows that wall. She grew up hitting balls under the hot Manila sun, long before European academies and Grand Slam junior titles. Long before international broadcasts said her name correctly. She remembers what it felt like to dream big, in a country where tennis didn't always feel big. So when she beat Paolini, a proven battle-hardened force on tour, it wasn't just about surviving rallies. It was about visibility. About proof. Proof that a Filipino player can stand toe-to-toe with Europe's best and not blink. After the match, someone asked her what she really hopes comes out of this win. Her answer wasn't rehearsed. It wasn't polished PR. I want Filipino tennis to believe. Believe. That word lingered. Because belief is powerful in a country where resources are not always equal. Where international travel is expensive. Where training abroad feels like a distant fantasy for many families. Eala knows she carries something larger than herself when she steps on court. Every forehand isn't just hers. It belongs to the little girl watching on a phone screen in Cebu. To the teenage boy practicing serves in Davao with no coach, just YouTube clips and imagination. When she beat Paolini, she didn't just shake hands at the net. She shook perception. And here's what makes her vision different. She's not just hoping for more players. She's hoping for structure. She's spoken openly about wanting stronger grassroots programs, more tournaments inside the Philippines, better junior pathways, a system that doesn't rely on one star, but produces many. Because she understands something important. If she's the only one, the movement stops when she does. But if she sparks 10 more? That's how change begins. Her win over Paolini felt symbolic. Paolini represents experience, stability, a nation with established tennis pipelines. Eala represents possibility. Raw, emerging, still writing her story. And when possibility defeats establishment, young athletes take notice. Suddenly the impossible feels closer. There was a moment after match point. The crowd still buzzing. Cameras flashing. Eala looked up into the stands. Not in celebration. Not in relief. But almost in reflection. Later, she admitted something quietly. When I win matches like this, I think about home. Home. Not the academy courts in Europe. Not the tour hotels, but the Philippines, the humidity, the language, the food, the people who stayed up past midnight to watch. That connection fuels her. Not pressure, fuel. And she understands the power of narrative. Filipino athletes have risen before in global sports. Manny Pacquiao changed boxing's perception of the Philippines forever. Hidilyn Diaz lifted Olympic gold and shifted weightlifting history. Eala doesn't compare herself, but she understands the blueprint. One athlete breaks through. A generation follows. That's what she's hoping for. Not fame. Not headlines. A generation. She also spoke about access. About making tennis feel reachable. Sometimes it looks expensive. Elite. Far away, she said. But it doesn't have to start that way. She wants clinics.